What if the most powerful tool in leadership was not authority, not strategy, not even vision, but love? The word love rarely appears in corporate boardrooms. It's too often reserved for personal life, for family, for romance, for poetry. In business, love is replaced by efficiency, performance, and results. But what if we've been missing the very element that could unlock all of those outcomes, and more? Leadership with love is not a romantic ideal. It is not about being soft or avoiding difficult decisions. It is about leading with a deep respect for human dignity, an authentic commitment to the people you lead, and an unwavering belief that when individuals feel valued, they perform at their best. In this journey, we are going to explore why love is not just an emotion, but a strategic advantage. One that companies like Starbucks, Microsoft, and Barry Wehmiller have used to redefine what leadership can mean. We will examine the leaders who have embraced it, the research that supports it, and the path you can take to practice it in your own career. But first, let's strip away the cliches. Love in a leadership context is not about avoiding accountability. It is about accountability rooted in care. It is about telling the truth, even when it's hard, because you want the other person to succeed. It is about making decisions that protect the well-being of your people, even when the bottom line might tempt you in another direction. This is the kind of leadership that Bob Chapman, CEO of Barry Wehmiller, calls truly human leadership. During the 2008 financial crisis, most companies chose mass layoffs to protect profits. Chapman chose a different route. Every employee, including himself, took an unpaid furlough of a few weeks. It's better for all of us to hurt a little, he said, than for some of us to hurt a lot. No one lost their job. And when the crisis passed, the loyalty and engagement of his people were stronger than ever. It's easy to dismiss stories like this as exceptions, but they are not accidents. They come from leaders who understand that business is ultimately about people, and people are not motivated purely by transactions. We are wired for connection, for belonging, for purpose. When leaders meet those needs, extraordinary things happen. Howard Schultz, the longtime CEO of Starbucks, built an empire not just by selling coffee, but by creating what he called a third place, not home, not work, but a welcoming community space. His commitment to his employees was evident. Even part-time workers received healthcare benefits, an unusual practice in the retail industry. The message was clear: you matter here. And that message transformed Starbucks from a small Seattle coffee shop into a global cultural icon. The common thread in these stories is a simple truth. When people feel cared for, they give more of themselves, not because they have to, but because they want to. And this is where many leaders stumble. They fear that showing too much care will lead to complacency or weakness. They confuse empathy with indulgence. But in reality, love in leadership is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of belief. Imagine a leader who looks you in the eye and says, "I believe in you. I will challenge you to grow, and I will support you through the process." That is love in action. This philosophy is not only moral, it is measurable. Research from Gallup shows that employees who feel their managers care about them as people are significantly more engaged, less likely to leave, and more productive. Harvard Business Review reports that companies with high levels of trust and compassion outperform those without them in profitability, innovation, and customer satisfaction. But perhaps the strongest argument for leadership with love is not in the numbers. It is in the legacy it leaves. Titles fade, profits fluctuate, but the way you made people feel, that endures. People remember the leader who listened, the leader who defended them, the leader who celebrated their smallest victories. If you are a leader or hope to become one, this journey is an invitation to rethink what leadership can be. Over the next couple of chapters, we will go deeper into real-world examples, the science behind love in the workplace, and a practical roadmap for making it part of your leadership DNA. Stay with me, because by the end of this exploration, you may find that the greatest competitive edge in the modern world is not found in technology, capital, or even talent, but in the courage to lead with love.
If Part 1 opened the door to the philosophy of leadership with love, then Part 2 is about stepping inside and walking through the hallways of real organizations that have lived it, not as a slogan, but as a way of doing business. We begin with a story from the global tech stage. When Satya Nadella became CEO of Microsoft in 2014, the company was struggling with a culture critics described as rigid, siloed, and inward-looking. Microsoft was still powerful, but it was losing relevance in the age of mobile and cloud. Nadella didn't just set out to change the strategy. He set out to change the culture. His method? One single word: empathy. Nadella had a personal understanding of what it meant to face challenges with compassion. His first child was born with cerebral palsy, an experience that reshaped his worldview. It taught him the importance of understanding others' perspectives and responding with care. He brought that same approach to Microsoft's leadership. Instead of a know-it-all culture, he championed a learn-it-all mindset. He encouraged leaders to listen deeply to customers and to each other. He broke down silos, rewarded collaboration, and gave teams permission to experiment and to fail without fear of punishment. The result? Microsoft's market value soared from around $300 billion to over $2 trillion under his leadership. But perhaps the bigger transformation was intangible. Employees began to describe the company as a place where they could bring their whole selves to work, where leadership wasn't about managing outputs, but unlocking human potential. From the tech world, let's move to consumer goods, to Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of PepsiCo. Nooyi is known for writing personal letters, not emails, not memos, but handwritten letters to the parents of her senior executives, thanking them for raising such talented individuals. It was a small act, but it carried profound meaning. When you connect with people at that human level, Nooyi once said, they will walk to the ends of the earth with you. Her leadership was anchored in what she called performance with purpose, the idea that a company can deliver strong financial results while also making a positive impact on society and nurturing its people. Under her tenure, PepsiCo invested heavily in healthier product lines, sustainability initiatives, and employee development programs. It's tempting to dismiss such gestures as symbolic, but symbols matter. They signal what a leader values, and over time, values shape behavior. Then there is the retail giant Costco, which has built a reputation for paying employees significantly above industry average, offering generous benefits and promoting from within. Costco's co-founder, Jim Sinegal, famously gave out his personal phone number to employees and encouraged them to call if they had a problem. While other retailers focused on squeezing labor costs, Costco doubled down on its people, and the loyalty it earned translated directly into customer loyalty. Love in leadership also shows up in smaller, less visible places. Consider Barry Wimlier again, a manufacturing company that doesn't exactly scream emotional culture at first glance. Yet under Bob Chapman's leadership, it became known for treating employees as family. At one plant, the company installed mirrors at the exit so employees could see themselves as they left each day. A subtle reminder: the person in the mirror is the most important part of this business. This is the essence of leadership with love. It's not confined to grand gestures or PR-friendly campaigns. It is found in everyday choices that communicate one simple truth: you matter here. Even in industries known for intense pressure, the philosophy holds. Take Airbnb during the COVID-19 pandemic. The travel industry was decimated. Airbnb had to lay off nearly 25% of its workforce, a devastating blow. But the way they did it was radically different. CEO Brian Chesky sent a heartfelt letter to all employees explaining the decision in transparent detail, offered 14 weeks of severance plus additional time for every year of service, allowed laid-off employees to keep their laptops, and created a public directory to help them find new jobs. Pain was unavoidable, but dignity was non-negotiable. When you examine these stories, a pattern emerges. Leadership with love is not about avoiding tough calls. It's about making them with humanity. It's about asking, how would I want to be treated in this situation? And then acting accordingly, even when it costs more in the short term. Critics might say, this sounds nice, but does it scale? The evidence suggests it does. Gallup's State of the Global Workplace report consistently shows that companies with high engagement, driven by trust, care, and purpose, outperform others in profitability, productivity, and customer metrics. Harvard Business Review has published multiple case studies showing that compassionate leadership reduces burnout, increases innovation, and strengthens retention. In the modern economy, where talent is mobile and culture is transparent, leading with love isn't just ethical, it's a competitive advantage. And as we move forward, we'll see that the science behind this approach explains why it works as powerfully as it does. In the next chapter, we'll go beneath the surface into neuroscience, psychology, and organizational research to understand why humans respond so profoundly to leaders who lead with love, and why this is not a soft skill, but a core business skill for the 21st century. Stay with me, because the most surprising insights are yet to come.
To understand why leadership with love works, we need to look beneath the surface, beyond the boardroom stories, beyond the corporate mission statements, into the core of human nature itself. The first truth is this: human beings are wired for connection. From our earliest days as a species, survival depended not on the strength of the individual, but on the strength of the group. Our brains evolved to seek safety in numbers, to bond with others, to trust those who signaled care and protection. Leaders who tap into this primal need for connection unlock something far more powerful than compliance. They unlock commitment. Neuroscience tells us that when people feel valued and respected, the brain releases oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin lowers stress, increases trust, and strengthens social bonds. In a workplace, this means that when a leader demonstrates genuine care through listening, recognition, or acts of fairness, employees are not just happier, their brains are literally rewiring to create stronger, more collaborative teams. On the other hand, environments of fear and constant pressure trigger cortisol, the stress hormone. Chronic cortisol spikes impair memory, reduce creativity, and eventually lead to burnout. A leader who rules by fear may get short-term results, but over time, they're damaging the very capabilities, innovation, problem-solving, and resilience that organizations need to thrive. This is why Harvard Business Review has repeatedly reported that psychological safety, the belief that you can speak up without fear of punishment, is one of the strongest predictors of team performance. Google's own Project Aristotle confirmed that psychological safety outweighed even technical expertise when it came to predicting a team's success. Leadership with love creates psychological safety by replacing fear with trust. It's not about removing challenges, it's about making people feel safe enough to take them on.
There's also the motivational science to consider. In his book, Drive, Daniel Pink outlines 3 core drivers of human motivation: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Love-based leadership touches all 3. Autonomy. By trusting people and empowering them to make decisions, leaders show that they value their team's judgment. Mastery. By providing constructive feedback and celebrating growth, they fuel the drive to improve. Purpose. By aligning work with a meaningful mission, they give people a reason to care beyond the paycheck. Gallup's research echoes this. Employees who feel cared for are 23% more likely to say they're thriving in their overall lives, 41% less likely to be absent from work, and 59% less likely to look for a job elsewhere. The link is clear. Care fuels engagement, and engagement fuels performance. But there's another layer, the moral layer. Leading with love reinforces intrinsic motivation. When people do something because they want to, not because they have to, the quality of their work and their creativity both rise. This is why workplaces that encourage open dialogue, mentorship, and shared purpose often outperform those focused purely on metrics and control. The science also challenges the idea that compassion makes leaders too soft. Studies on compassionate leadership in high-stakes professions like healthcare, aviation, and military units show that when leaders combine empathy with high standards, performance doesn't drop, it increases. Teams respond to tough goals when they know the person setting them is on their side. This duality, care and challenge, is the hallmark of leadership with love. Too much care without challenge breeds comfort and stagnation. Too much challenge without care breeds fear and resentment. The sweet spot is where the two meet, where the leader says, "I expect the best from you, and I will help you become capable of delivering it." In neuroscience, there's a term for this balance: optimal stress. The point where challenge pushes you to grow, but support keeps you from breaking. Leaders who master this balance create environments where people feel both safe and stretched. Perhaps the most profound finding comes from longitudinal studies of leadership impact. Researchers have tracked leaders over decades, and the data shows that those remembered as truly great are rarely the ones who simply hit quarterly targets. They are the ones who left a mark on people's lives, who made individuals feel seen, valued, and capable of more than they thought possible. This is the quiet power of leadership with love. It builds not just successful teams, but stronger human beings. In the next part of our journey, we'll turn from theory to action. You'll see how to weave love into your own leadership, whether you're running a company, managing a small team, or simply influencing the people around you. This is where the philosophy becomes practice, and where change truly begins.
We've explored the philosophy. We've walked through the boardrooms where it has been lived. We've examined the science that explains why it works. Now, it's time to answer the most important question. How do you lead with love in real life, with real deadlines, real competition, and real people who sometimes make mistakes? The first step is self-awareness. Before you can lead others with love, you have to examine how you view leadership itself. Ask yourself, do I see my role primarily as controlling outcomes or as developing people? The answer will shape every decision you make. Leadership with love begins with a shift in identity, from being the commander to being the gardener. A gardener does not force a plant to grow. They create the conditions for growth, the right soil, the right light, the right water. In the same way, a leader's job is to create the conditions where people can thrive. Step 2, listen before you lead. Start with curiosity, not assumption. Schedule one-on-one conversations with your team members, not just to talk about projects, but to understand their aspirations, frustrations, and what energizes them. This is not small talk. It is the foundation of trust. When Indra Nooyi wrote letters to her executives' parents, it wasn't a gimmick. It was a reflection of genuine interest in the people behind the roles. Listening communicates a simple but powerful message. I see you. I value you. Step 3. Create psychological safety. This means making it safe for people to speak up, challenge ideas, and admit mistakes without fear of humiliation or retaliation. Set the tone by admitting your own mistakes publicly and showing how you learned from them. When leaders model vulnerability, they give permission for others to do the same. Step 4. Pair care with challenge. This is where many well-meaning leaders go wrong. Love does not mean lowering the bar. It means raising the bar with support. Make your expectations clear and then equip your people to meet them. If someone falls short, address it, but frame it as an opportunity to grow, not as a personal failure. Remember Satya Nadella's learn-it-all culture. It was not about avoiding mistakes, it was about learning from them faster than competitors. Step 5. Recognize and celebrate progress. Recognition is one of the most cost-effective tools in leadership, yet it's often neglected. Celebrate small wins, not just major milestones. Public praise reinforces desired behaviors, while private appreciation strengthens personal bonds. Howard Schultz didn't just reward performance, he created rituals of appreciation in Starbucks stores, from recognizing Partner of the Quarter to sharing customer compliments. These moments compound over time into a culture of gratitude. Step 6. Make the hard decisions with humanity. Sooner or later, every leader will face a decision that will hurt someone: restructuring, budget cuts, performance issues. Leadership with love doesn't mean avoiding these moments, it means handling them with dignity. Be transparent about the why. Communicate directly, not through layers of bureaucracy. Offer as much support as possible to ease the transition. Remember Airbnb's layoffs during the pandemic? They couldn't avoid the pain, but they could choose how to deliver it. And they chose compassion. Step 8. Protect the culture. Culture is fragile. It can take years to build and days to destroy. Leading with love means holding everyone, including high performers, accountable to shared values. Allowing toxic behavior to persist, even from top talent, sends a message that results matter more than respect. In the long run, that corrodes trust. Step 9. Invest in people's growth. This means more than offering training programs. It means actively mentoring, coaching, and creating opportunities for stretch assignments. When people see that you are committed to their long-term success, even if that eventually takes them beyond your team, they repay that investment with loyalty and discretionary effort. Step 10. Lead by example, always. Your team will listen to what you say, but they will follow what you do. Consistency is the currency of trust. If you preach work-life balance but send midnight emails, your actions will erase your words. If you demand respect but speak harshly to others, your culture will reflect that. Step 10. Keep the long game in mind. Leadership with love is not a quarterly tactic, it's a long-term strategy. Its true ROI is measured over years, in the depth of relationships, in the resilience of your team, in the legacy you leave behind. And here is the paradox. The very leaders who focus less on chasing short-term metrics often end up delivering stronger long-term results. Why? Because they are building something more durable than numbers. They are building commitment, trust, and purpose. Overcoming resistance. Inevitably, you will encounter skeptics. Some will equate love with weakness. Others will argue that in cutthroat industries, compassion is a liability. When this happens, return to the evidence. Microsoft's turnaround under Nadella, Costco's customer and employee loyalty, Gallup's data on engagement and profitability, Harvard's findings on psychological safety and innovation show that leadership with love is not an alternative to performance, it is a driver of it. Sustaining the practice. Leading with love requires daily discipline. It's not a switch you flip. It's a series of choices you make, in conversations, in decisions, in the way you handle conflict. Over time, those choices become habits, and those habits become culture. One practical tool? End each week by asking yourself 3 questions. Who did I invest in this week? Where did I choose empathy over ego? And how did I align my actions with our shared values? These questions keep the philosophy grounded in action. The closing reflection. At the end of your career, people will not remember every deal you closed or every target you hit. They will remember how they felt working with you. Did you inspire them to be better? Did you protect them when it mattered? Did you challenge them to rise to their potential? The true measure of a leader is not found in a balance sheet. It is etched into the stories people tell about you long after you're gone. And if those stories are filled with words like trust, respect, growth, and care, then you will have done more than lead a team. You will have led with love. And that is the kind of leadership the world needs now more than ever.